What? How are we out of rocks already? I swear we farmed 1-7 for an entire month straight. Let me check inventory first. Despite everyone hating Mudrock as the CC4 and Twilight of Wollemond boss, she was welcomed with open arms into Rhodes Island as an operator. Since Mudrock's release, she's been consistently used in general and much of the harder content. In this video, we'll dive in depth on what makes Mudrock so good and her usage in Contingency Contract. Mudrock? What are you doing in the rock storage? No wonder why we've been missing so many rocks. Dude, stop using them to make your friends. We need these rocks for promotions and masteries. Look, we have limited resources on this ship and I can't just be farming 1-7 for months and not use it for what I intended to farm for. You can keep all the friends you have now, just don't use the 1-7 rocks without my permission, okay? Mudrock is an unyielding defender, meaning she can't be healed with operator attacks, which includes medics and healing defenders. Even though Mudrock can't be healed through traditional means, she can still regenerate HP through passive healing such as Sculptor's trait or Perfumer's talent. You would think that being an unyielding defender, survivability would be one of her main issues, but she can handle herself quite well in most situations. Mudrock has extremely high HP, defense, and attack, and a small amount of arch resistance too. She has the highest DP cost out of every operator in the game, making it a little tougher for players who can't print DP to justify placing her on the map. Mudrock's first talent gives her a shield every 9 seconds, which recovers 20% of her max HP when broken. This is the main way Mudrock survives in her lane when you leave her alone. Since this talent allows her to heal herself, most of the time she doesn't need any healing from other operators, saving you squad space. The enemy usually doesn't do enough damage due to her massive tanky stats, and if some damage gets through to her, she can negate it with her shield and heal herself at the same time. Since shields and Arknights absorb 1 damage instance, no matter how small, you'd want to maximize the damage she negates by pitting her against enemies that deal massive damage with the slow attack interval. Going to the other side of the spectrum, Mudrock doesn't have as much survivability against enemies with fast attack intervals or poison maps, since they drain her shields quickly. Her second talent reduces damage received from Sarkaz enemies. Despite this oddly specific talent, Sarkaz enemies appear quite frequently in the game, making this talent used more often than you'd think. For example, Contingency Contract, Cinders, Lead Seal, and Spectrum all had Sarkaz enemies in them, so Mudrock would have benefited greatly with this talent. Mudrock's first skill gives her 100% more defense at M3. It has a 40-second uptime for 30 seconds of downtime, which is really good. There's a lot of people that will try to actually sell this skill as a viable one for Mudrock, saying you should use it if you want Mudrock to tank heavy physical damage, but it's not good. Don't use this. There are 2 main reasons why you don't want to use this skill at all. The first reason is that there are operators dedicated to tanking. What makes a good tank is their survivability, and remember Mudrock's main issue with survivability? She can't be healed with medics or guardians, which are the 2 most standard ways of healing an operator. Hoshiguma or Seria would just outcompete her in this field because they can actually be healed and tank just as well as Mudrock. The second reason is a lot more obvious. Her other skills are just infinitely better than this skill. Mudrock's second and third skills can do crazy amounts of damage, and usually her shields are enough to keep her alive, rendering this skill inferior in practically every situation. Mudrock can survive a lot of heavy hitting, but don't swap to this skill just to tank things like Frost Shots, Tallulah Swipes, or Patriot Lunges alone, since there are better operators suited for that role and you'll be missing out on a lot of damage. Mudrock's second skill, Crag Splitter, is an instant automatic defensive SP skill that provides consistent DPS. Her next attack will heal 6% of her max HP and deal 270% of her attack to the ground enemies in the 8 surrounding tiles, with a 30% chance to stun each enemy. This skill can be triggered even when the enemy is not in Mudrock's default range. It has a short SP cost, but since the charge type is defensive SP, she'll have to tank a couple hits before she can go spin. Crag Splitter is a relatively basic skill that serves as constant AoE damage around Mudrock, given enemies' attack attack her. The main use of the skill is to just drop Mudrock in a lane and leave her there with no activations required since it's automatic, which is great for lazy people such as myself. Bloodline of Desecrated Earth is Mudrock's third skill, which causes her to become invulnerable for 10 seconds. During these 10 seconds of invulnerability, she slows the enemies around her, can't be targeted by enemies, reducing their movement speed by 60%. Mudrock will then wake up, stunning all the enemies in her slowing range for 5 seconds. She gets her attack interval reduced and some base attack while also hitting enemies equal to block count, basically becoming an AoE guard. Since the skill duration is 30 seconds, she basically gets 10 seconds of sleep and then 20 seconds of curb stomping everything in her path. There's a lot to digest with this skill. You first have the slow and invulnerability. Most enemies blocked by Mudrock will just straight up walk through her, so you're going to need a tiny bit more of crowd control if you want her to hammer time them when she wakes up. A trick some players often do to counter this is face Mudrock backwards so she can hit the enemies behind her when she wakes up. Timing the skill carefully, you can stall enemies to the max, like in CC6 with the 1v1 Crocs. Reminder that she will also regenerate shields during this phase, so with the 10 seconds of invulnerability, she gets a free shield. Mudrock waking up will cause a 5-second stun, essentially giving her 15 seconds of free time to regenerate shields if the enemies aren't stun immune. Her DPS during this phase can reach almost 2000, which is pretty good. With her extremely high attack, she can also cause major dents in a lot of heavily armored enemies. She also only has 25 seconds of downtime before the next skill cycle, so Mudrock can easily prepare the skill for the next incoming wave of tough enemies. Overall, this skill turns Mudrock into an exceptional defender with a substantial amount of crowd control and damage under her belt. Even though she's not meant to tank the heaviest hits, Mudrock has a great deal of survivability with massive stats and talents that improve her ability to soak damage. Her skills grant her more damage, giving her the option to solo lane in AFK or to provide burst damage and crowd control. With a diverse kit, it's not a surprise she's used in many high-end strategies, especially ones that reduce operator count. Since Mudrock is self-sustaining, you don't need other operators to keep her alive, saving you valuable squad size. Her high cost may make it hard for low DP output squads to place her down, but most of the time it'll be worth it. Mudrock, are you in there? It's time for your checkup. Mudrock, I'm coming in. What the hell? Who are you? Yo, it's me, Colossus Gaming. Where's Mudrock? I don't know, man, I've just been gaming. Oh god, she better not be in inventory. I don't usually do synergies for my operator analysis since most operators don't have interesting synergies, but Mudrock is an exception. Let's start with one that's always jammed down your throat. You already know it's coming. Blemishine's SP talent that allows operators with skills of defensive charge type skills to charge on hit as well. This talent pairs well with Mudrock's skill too, allowing her to get SP when she attacks someone, which makes her charge the skill way faster, turning her into a Beyblade. Blemishine's second skill also provides passive healing, which can heal Mudrock, so together they make a powerful duo. The most interesting synergy I've seen with Mudrock is Ark. Purely because Mudrock is invulnerable during her S3, Ark can shoot her for free with his third skill that provides 50 attack speed and 50% more attack without killing her or damaging her shields, making Mudrock do some even crazier amounts of damage when she wakes up. This tactic is especially handy in contingency contract since there are operator defense down or HP down risks that practically kills Ark's usage. Ark also has some RNG crowd control with his first talent, preventing enemies from passing through Mudrock when she's in her untargetable phase of her third skill. Although there are tons of other operators that perform well with Mudrock and can enhance her abilities, I'm not going to mention them because they're just all buffers and debuffers, which obviously synergize with every DPS operator ever. For example, I don't think people need to be told that Warfarin's skill 2 can make Mudrock do more damage, since that is literally the purpose of the skill. Mudrock's second skill is mainly used in general content since it doesn't require timing like her third and provides consistent damage. It's a great AFK skill where you just drop her in lane and don't have to care about her for the rest of the map. Since Mudrock's release, she's been used in practically every contingency contract. Her second talent was especially useful when it came to Cinders and Lead Seal, since the main enemies in there were all Sarkaz, allowing her to tank hits that most operators couldn't. At Cinder's max risk, Mudrock was the only operator that could absorb a hit from the Lancers directly with a sliver of health remaining. Her usage in contingency contract revolves around her third skill, since it allows her to regenerate more shields and slow and stun the enemy, making her the ultimate tank. Third skill stalling shenanigans was used especially in Lead Seal and Wild Scales to stall Big Bob and the 1v1 Crocs. As a whole, Mudrock's kit was designed for her to be a standing fortress against enemies with long attack intervals. Mudrock, I swear to God, you better not be down here. Hey guys,
Mudrock, come on. This video I'm gonna show you